home too.
Yeah, well, I can see that. What I'm talking about is the massive amount of pesticides you're using.
What in tarnation is going on around here, Marley? I'm not paying you to learn farming mechanics. Just do what I told you to put those pesticides there. I'm paying for them anyways.
Well, sir, I think it's you who doesn't know anything. You're not learning about the harmful effects that these pesticides and herbicides are causing.
Me? I know everything. I know how expensive it is.
Oh, I'm talking about way bigger effects than you paying for these.
Oh, like my power plant running out?
No, I'm talking about the environmental damage and the damage to the people who eat your products.
Of course.
What in tarnation? I knew I done Billy shouldn't have eaten those salmon by the creek earlier.
That's very true. You know, pesticide and fertilizer runoff can cause major damage to local habitats.
Well, anyways, it's so goddamn hot out here. Can we just go inside and talk about this?
Sure.
What even is this place?
Don't worry about it. So, as I was saying, whenever it rains, the rainwater absorbs some of those fertilizers you're putting down, and that makes it seep even farther into the ground, where it then gets picked up by the groundwater. The groundwater shifts it over to the local environment, where it taints the water supplies. Those tainted water supplies can cause uncontrollable algae blooms and harms the wildlife. That harm eventually comes back to you, your consumers, and the people who eat the wildlife.
Well, I'm proud to tell you that we use organic nitrogen fertilizer around here.
See, my boss here is really smart. He knows what he's doing.
Well, those solutions you're using aren't actually addressing the root of the problem, which is you're allowing your pesticides to seep into the groundwater and affect the local wildlife.
So what do you suggest that we do then?
2 words: cellulose sponges.
Cellulose sponges? How am I supposed to use that on a farm? Isn't that what they use in hospitals?
That is correct. Cellulose sponges are known for being very absorbent. They're known for being extremely resistant to temperature and chemical weathering, known to be a great buffer material, and they're 100% eco-friendly.
And how am I supposed to use it on a farm?
Well, the method that we use is, after harvesting your crops, you need to dig about a 5-foot hole beneath the area that you've been cultivating. Once you've done that, you're going to need to put in 1 layer of steel filtration mesh. Once you've done that, put in a layer of our cellulose sponges coated with denitrifying bacteria and soap. On top of that, put down another layer of filtration mesh, and then you can plant your crops on top of that.
Oh, well, I understand why the cellulose sponges are used, but why do you need the filtration mesh things?
Well, the filtration mesh helps to alleviate some of the pressure that's been put on the sponges from the weight of all your soil and crops. It also makes sure that the sponges don't biodegrade as easily.
Well, why do you want neither one on the bottom then?
That helps to make sure that all of the harmful materials that have been filtered out don't seep back into the environment.
Oh, I see.
Oh darn diddly do. So how does this technique here even work?
Well, you see, whenever it rains, some of that fertilizer is absorbed by the rainwater. That rainwater begins to seep down farther into the earth. It gets past that first layer of the filtration mesh and into the sponges. Now the sponges, again, have denitrifying bacteria inside of them. This denitrifying bacteria breaks down those ammonium nitrates.
Well, what? I thought ammonium nitrates were good for the environment. Why do we need to break them down?
Well, in limited amounts they're good, but in those extensive amounts that you've been using in those fertilizers, they can actually have some pretty serious side effects.
Well, I can see how they're bad, but are we really trying to prevent metals like arsenic and lead from getting into the soil?
That's true, which is why we use a process called cyclic electrowinning precipitation, where when you add an acid or a base into a mixture of tainted water, it can remove those metals from the water. For this, we are using the soap because of its non-corrosive capabilities and for its base abilities.
Oh, okay. So, overall, what does it lead to me to do?
Well, it ends up making your business much more eco-friendly by removing all of those harmful chemicals that are inside your runoff and those harmful metals.
Oh, okay. Well, it all sounds great, but how am I supposed to afford this? It sounds like it's gonna cost a fortune.
Well, it won't actually cost a fortune. How big is your farm?
I would say about 500 acres, right, Molly?
Around there.
Yeah, but we only grow crops on 200 of those acres, and like we use the rest for ranching, so I think that would reduce the size.
Alright, well, my company is selling plots of sponges with that denitrifying bacteria in soap on a 50 by 50 foot plot of land for $500. Now, judging by the size of your farm, you need about 3,500 of those. And for that filtration mesh, that's only going to be about $1,200 per acre. Now, all of the layers of mesh in total are going to cost $500,000, adding up to a grand total of $2.25 million.
Oh my god, not gonna cost a fortune, right?
Actually, this system lasts up to 25 years, which means that you'll only be paying $80,000 while it's in effect.
Dang, Sonny. It takes about $100K for fertilizer and the pesticide on our farms. That's way cheaper. After today, I learned about the cellulose sponges. I'm gonna use these and make the environment a better place while still tending to my farm.
Wait, Marley. Well, how do I maintain this? Is there like anything that I have to do?
Well, we'll provide a vat filled with denitrifying bacteria and soap on the side of your farm. It'll saturate up one side of the sponges, but that saturation will spread to the other sponges due to the absorption qualities of the sponge.
So overall, I just have to fill up that vat like every few months, or how often?
Yeah, but that cost is very low.
That's very
Okay.
interesting. I'll consider implementing this into my farm.
You should. It can greatly decrease the environmental impact that you have by reducing the amount of ammonium nitrates and heavy metals that are able to seep into the environment through your runoff.
That's true.
So we're gonna do it, boss?
You know what, Marley? We will.
Yeah!